But it's time. We have finally made it, James. After all these days, how many days, James?
800. I think it's 805.
Okay. Yeah, from the inception of the company, Hangman Page had wanted to win the AEW World Championship. Of course, he suffered the big loss against Chris Jericho, went into the stupor of drinking and self-confidence issues, got paired with Kenny Omega, had before, the official team of Kenny, he was in a feud with Pac, going back and forth with him, paired up with Kenny Omega, because I think from day one, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega have broken their backs to try to create this next star for this promotion, and I think it worked. You guys know how to run went. 228 days, a lot of great tag team matches, incredible pre-match promo before this match. Sam mentioned they did the split. Not necessarily like the turn that you want, like as far as like it wasn't someone just like beating the hell out of someone, and it was like kind of more understated, which I kind of appreciated. They have the callback, of course, which the part is really getting me is like before he wrestled Jericho, and this was on BTE. It was like he asked him, the Bucks to second him like they would second Kenny, and they had a heart to tell him they weren't going to do it. They were just saying, we got our own thing that night, but it kind of later came out like it was like, yeah, we only second one wrestler in the Elite, like, and it wasn't him at the time. And from there, Kenny turns, wins the belt, Bucks win the belts. Hangman falls even further. You got to think he may have missed out on a feud with Brody Lee at that time. He starts hanging out with the Dark Order. They do the great tribute match. He loses to Kenny in the finals. I forgot to mention that of Full Gear last year. And an awesome match. He comes back, does his best with Matt Hardy in the HFO. Gets in something with Team Taz. In the pre-summer, ends up with a Brian Cage match on pay-per-view. Very good match. I was there in person. Incredible reception for him. He started, heading in towards Kenny in the beginning of the summer. I thought the 5-on-5 match they had, or the whatever, I think it was 4-on-4 or something like that.
It was 5-on-5.
Okay. It was an elimination match.
It was the Elite plus Gallows and Anderson, and then it was Hangman and Silver and Reynolds, and I think it was Smash Brothers. Yeah.
As good as an elimination match as you're going to see. I thought it dumped a ton of heat and doubt on this feud, and we come to find out that Hangman had requested time off. We of course got this news later. However, I thought it was the correct decision to beat them then, and beat him then. I didn't think the time was right for All Out personally. I had always kind of circled Full Gear. I thought the elimination match was fucking great from the whole presentation. What makes a cowboy stuff, that did a lot for him. He comes back the next week. They whoop his ass, Horseman style, and sent him out for months and months and months. This should have been, as we told you on One Nation Radio, the flashing sign that he was coming back.
One more point to add to the Horseman beatdown game the week later. The week later, the apology that he gave the Young Bucks on Friday on Rampage was the apology he was going to give them then. But Matt was too full of himself and wanted to stun on him, and then it led to fisticuffs, and then they beat him down. But, that's clearly what he was going to do. And that was the thing that was stuck on me and you as far as, why do people like this dude so much when in a relationship between them, he's acting very childish. He's acting very childish. What is the term? He feels like he's like he is in a movie and he's the main character. He's having protagonist syndrome, where it's well, why wouldn't you come out to my match? It's like, because you're a fucking adult. Go out there and fight. Like, what? So for me, like, there are things that I don't relate to, with the Hangman thing. I think that, like, I don't find him as inspiring as everyone else does, or as a lot of people do. But like, that dude's been a kick-ass wrestler for a long time. And it seems like he's even getting better. And like,
so he wins
the matches. The matches are no problem for me. It was always just given this story, can he come out of this, or before he gets to this, can he seem like less of a dick, like as a self-saboteur? And he has. And so, like, they put a really nice bow on this. Whatever happens between Hangman and Kenny and the Young Bucks, I don't think it's over. I think obviously the chapter in this is like just like Tam and Mayu, like, you just hope that, like, by the end of this, like, they can be friends again. Given the circumstances of all the stuff that happened, because, like, this is just like, this is stuff that seems that you can reconcile. And
it
I think
feels like it's going to be like a 5-year storyline. Like,
So this is a nice second, third, fourth, fifth chapter on this. This really was.
He comes back, he wins that ladder match. The crowd doesn't forget about him. There are people that are saying he needs to go to WWE. He needs to call to Triple H when Bryan and Punk and Cole.
What do you call him Triple H for?
Yeah, I don't know what that would have done, especially a couple months later. So take some L's on that, y'all. And
Triple H shouldn't be answering no phone calls. I mean, he'd be concerned about his health.
Then Hangman goes through, starts cutting better promos and really getting people behind him, and he's defining what cowboy shit is and what it means to him. They make the match official. They have the great angle at the close with Callis and Kenny. At the same time, Kenny is going through, being a champion for a year, having all those belts, having all these great matches. I'm going to talk about him more in a minute, but let's get to this match. A wonderful presentation of wrestling. I always look for how champions drop belts. It's awesome. For me, it had a tiny bit of Wrestle Kingdom 13 vibes to it, knowing that something's going to happen with Kenny after this, whether it's a character change or there's like, it's like an end of an era or something. He came out and he had like the one wing thing, kind of reminded me of that. Mm-hmm. Hangman came out. They had a pre-match video where he's riding on the horse in the street. And I think these guys wrestled their asses off. They were doing head drops. They were doing a lot of reversals. They were doing all...
They were doing head drops.
Bro, they did. They were going all Japan dangerous, like all those the fucking sunset flipping power bomb that Kenny did. I came out the fucking chair. Hangman basically cutting Kenny off when he's trying to stun on him. Just tons of great spots in this. Even the interference, I think, helped a lot just to fake people out a little bit. And then at the end, I thought it, just reflecting on it, like it makes me want to give this 5 stars so bad. Like the Matt Jackson and Hangman, because I wanted them to fucking run it. And now I never want them to fight. Like, and it's like, he looked at him with the tears in his eyes and was like, we finally came and supported you. And, when the Elite fights, I always say when the Elite fights, no one does it better. It's like, it's always like believable. It's like emotional. It's like gripping. It's, you see these guys, and if you watch, being the Elite and think about where everybody's coming from, where they're headed, like this is a really important time, because Heyman was always the young dude in the Elite. He was the prospect. He was a guy that was like, we got Heyman too, but like we know who the stars were in this situation, and they cemented this dude last night in that match. Thought it was great, and niggas can't fuck with the Elite. Like when it comes down to it, sorry. Like,
so I I thought this match was so well built from minute 1 through 2 to 3 to 4, 5, 6, etc., etc. It was a match that wasn't overly violent while still having wow factors of like crazy bumps. There was no worry that someone was going to like land on the top of their head. They may have landed on the back of their head on accident, but that wasn't the plan. And I thought it was a great match. I don't know. Like, okay, so I think the Bryan match, maybe just because of the I don't know, but like I think I like the Bryan match and the Phoenix match more this year from bell to bell in that with Omega, but like it's still at least a 4 3/4 star match. People give it 5. I ain't gonna argue. Yeah. I'm not gonna argue. It is absolutely a match of the year contender, fringe or legitimate for people. Like it's definitely there. So, great match. And to be quite honest with you, I think there is a second and third match in them that's better than this one.
Sam says the greatest wrestling faction ever. No other faction has had more influence on the industry or created such consistently great matches and stories. I 100% agree. Like, the Elite can't be fucked with. Sorry, the NWO. Sorry, DX. Sorry, Shield. Sorry, New Day. Sorry, whoever you want to talk about is the Elite. And it was such a great moment because they just did the right thing. They did the thing that the most amount of fans wanted to see. They got a 30-year-old world champion. They've got a star for however long, Hangman wants to do this at the top level. I trust that the booking is going to get them there because, like, you have Danielson fucking waiting for him. And what we said was like, yo, if you're going to get this guy off the correct way to find success as a champion, you give him Kenny Omega, you give him Bryan Danielson, and then you go from there. And it looks like that's what they're about to do. And this was I think it was it was a match that I think a lot of people had to the result. A lot of people had to delete a lot of tweets that were talking a lot of stuff, thinking Heyman they weren't gonna do it, and it just feels all Japanish, in a way. So for everything I was learning about All Japan, but I've got Kenny Omega's eulogy for his championship reign. It was something I put out on Twitter. A lot of people liked it, got a great reception for it. So, James, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and read this off. If you want to jump in anywhere, feel free.
Nah, go ahead.
So, here it is. Kenny Omega's championship eulogy. Kenny Omega was the third AEW World Heavyweight Champion. After 346 days, he dropped the title clean to Hangman Adam Page in an incredible match, which was the culmination of a story that dates back to the inception of the company. We'll get back to this in a second. Partnering with Don Callis as his manager, he won the AEW Championship from Jon Moxley at Winter is Coming 2020 and promptly unleashed a new partnership with Impact Wrestling that would lead to him becoming the belt collector, which saw him carrying 4 championship belts that represented 3 organizations at its highest point. Omega's title reign spanned from the limited fan era until fans were back in the arenas. AEW saw business rise on both television and pay-per-view throughout his reign as he faced a myriad of opponents, telling stories tailored to each of them, while remaining the leading contender for various Wrestler of the Year awards across several publications. Aside from the AEW Championship, he engaged in many other matches outside of the reign, which added to his aura, such as his classic 30-minute draw against Bryan Danielson, his entire Impact reign, and several high-profile tag and trios matches that did well from a critical and business standpoint. He remained the lightning rod he has always been, while having the best matches ever contested for the AEW Championship. There was a down point of his reign. it would be that the end point of his reign was in flashing lights almost from the moment that he got the title, leading to a "there's no way in hell this belt is changing" feeling through many of his defenses. That may be a function of the early history of the championship, and that's something Britt Baker is dealing with right now. At that point, we were left to evaluate the match quality we got, which was generally very high. Omega built the main event championship scene in AEW, doing clean jobs to Jericho and Moxley out the gate to set them up for runs before taking Hangman Page under his wing to begin the process of turning him into a top star. That story finished at Full Gear as Omega handed over the physical championship to Page while remaining perhaps a level above the title at this point, able to step in as a babyface in the future. Though he might not immediately get the credit due to being who he is, in time, his work from 2019 to the end of 2021 will be looked at as incredibly giving and equally spectacular, as he was doing all this while making the transition to being a national weekly television wrestler for the first time. Many people think he's headed for a rest of some sort, but the best bout machine never sleeps. As of this writing, his next major match is in less than a month against El Hijo del Vikingo in AAA, which gives him another shot at adding to his great match resume in 2021. There was the option to pursue what would have been box office shattering title matches against CM Punk or Bryan Danielson, but that wasn't how things played out. I feel comfortable in saying he was the best AEW champion so far. And while I don't know if he'll win it again at some point, he really doesn't have to either, as many exciting opponents and stories are waiting for him that could fill the next few years. And today I learned truly how much pain Kenny was in throughout all this, watching this like 50-minute video, like where he was getting this adjustment. Turns out he's had vertigo since 2018. So like Ric Flair had vertigo at a certain point. Just super impressive. I didn't want people to forget, like caught up in the Hangman hysteria, I'll say, like this was like an all-time make another star type performance for Kenny, which ironically kind of feels like Tanahashi making Okada. So this is great.
Yeah. So I guess you had asked me the day thing about like when I hit Caleb with the 805-day title chase survivor. Yeah, like back during the summer when people were hyperventilating about how he didn't win that Survivor Series match, more or less. When he lost 3-1 against like all the men's champions in AEW. Like I was just like reminded, like between Bailey, between Johnny Gargano, between Tam Nakano, just like that was the point. Like the point is, like this person's going to fail, and you already believe in him, and he's already showing you that like he just all he needs is this much. All he just needs is that little push over the top, and
they had you.
Yeah, and that's what
had them,
and that's what we were saying back then. Like they got y'all. And when y'all win, I'll be so happy. And I'm glad people are happy. And I'm glad he's
I'm glad we're right.
And I'm glad he's in a place now to where, because I mean, from the time Omega won the belt, we were circling like, is it gonna be Full Gear? And obviously we had no idea about CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, but it turned out to be for the best. Like if he had won the title at Full or All Out, it would have been like, oh, that's cool. The best wrestler, like maybe the best wrestler in the world, just showed up. You know what I'm saying? Like just showed up to the company, and like one of the biggest needle movers in pro wrestling of the last decade just showed up as well off a 7-year retirement. So it's like. Now like, and Adam Cole's also there, so it's like now that like they're all settled into the universe, if you will, or into the Federation, there are more parts for at disposal to help facilitate and keep Hangman at a level higher than like he was before 2 days ago. So like this is a better environment for him. Like so it all turned out for the best for this dude. And a lot of my reasons why like I was like I don't know if this is going to work out for him in this way once they give him the belt. Like but we'll see. Like I think this is a much better like situation for him with all these people, with MJF, with Darby, to go against in the future, with Moxley eventually, if he turns heel or whatever else, or not, because he definitely wants the belt either way. He wants his belt back either way. So yeah, like that's the point of the chase. That makes it so awesome. Like you see something, and they got you, and you're gonna be frustrated at times. There's gonna be motherfuckers.
Tell me how happy y'all are.
There's gonna be motherfuckers wildly coyoteing off the stage to a man that's handcuffed. And then when it's time for him to get his belt, the person has a trick neck and he has to get the fuck, and they have to call an audible, and then they still have to come up with a match that's better probably than you even would have imagined. There's all types of stuff. There's gonna be. Your
favorite wrestler might go an hour with the champion and not win, like, and go to a draw. You know? Yeah. Like, there's gonna be that. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be like it's going to be stuff like you're ready. You've demonstrated yourself to be ready, and then like somebody else that's old money comes back, and then like, and they're not as over as you, but it's time, but you got to put them over in their first defense. And then when it's time for you to, you shoot this angle with this person and win tag league, and then you're supposed to win the belt for them, and this whole huge thing. And then unfortunately they have injuries and you got to call an audible. It ended up working out for the best. Like that Tamarissa thing, that would have been awesome if it happened. It would have been awesome if it happened. But Tam Nakano and Budokan Hall in like one of the best under 20-minute matches I've ever seen in my life. That was better than whatever Arisa and Tam were gonna come up with. So yeah, like sometimes this stuff works out. Like don't get me wrong, there've been plenty of chases that have been fucked up. Looking at you, WCW 1997, but when it works out, it just feels so good, and I'm just happy that everyone that was ever invested in the story, was ever invested in these guys, was ever invested in this company, like for the last since 2019, for like this to come through in that way, like it was great. It was great. It is one great. that cannot be taken away at this point. Like it's a home run. It's like, imagine, like, a lot of people were saying this was Starrcade 97 for AEW, and it was like, I think that was a pejorative thing, hoping that they would fuck up, personally. And like, you think about, remember Brock Lesnar having the belt for that long, and the trash that they did to switch the title to Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2018, just completely unsatisfying. What they did to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34, I'm thinking of more recent history type things, and it's just like, we're not talking about the other world championship here. We're talking about the championship now in wrestling, the AEW championship, and it's like, you got that shit, like you're gonna be Teflon for a while. So, very proud of both of these guys for authoring this story. And I don't think that I look forward to see whatever these next stories are that are going to play out, because all these people are now different. I think that chapter of the company is like the first chapter of All Elite Wrestling has been written here. Those first four champions, and now it's like almost anybody can like, not anybody, but like, there's a new, like, people, there are new people that you can introduce, there are old people that you can introduce back to it, but we're going somewhere else now, and they've done great so far. So
yeah, they've more or less, like, I'm not saying it's any profound thing or whatever, it's obvious, but like, He's the first AEW World Champion that wasn't a former WWE champion or IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So,
Right.
like, that's a big deal. Like, you look around at what AEW is, and at its top, it is veterans that have applied their crafts and made big names for themselves and have history, stories, and careers and all that kind of stuff elsewhere. And this is no knock against what he did in Ring of Honor and what he did when he was in New Japan from time to time. But, like, this is uncharted territory now for AEW. They're not relying on somebody that was already a Hall of Famer multiple times over, multiple like has wrestled themselves to wealth already. Like, this is something new.
Yeah. Sam says no rushing off the air with Hangman. Yeah, they did not go off the air within 90 seconds of him winning the world title. So, yeah, I think that's a great place to leave it. It was an awesome show, awesome matches, and bring on, like, very happy. I want to see what Hangman does with it. I want to see, like, his impact on business and, like, what big matches they got ready for him. Like, very interested. So they've got a pure white meat babyface as the world champion.